This week, we want to teach you how to make a classic Cantonese cookie, chicken cookies. Now, I guess we do need to get something out of the way here real quick at first. See, despite the name, no, there's not any chicken in these cookies. Sorry to disappoint. But because this is Cantonese food after all, a fundamental ingredient for your chicken cookies that you just won't be able to be without will be pork. Let me explain. See, the original inventor of this dish was a servant in the House of Wu, which was an old merchant family in Guangzhou. Her name was Xiufeng, or Little Phoenix. So originally the cookies were called Xiufeng Bang, or Little Phoenix's Cookies. Years later, the cookies were popularized by an old restaurant in Guangzhou called Fenjiu, which would make these Little Phoenix cookies after the Mid-Autumn Festival as a way to use up leftover mooncake ingredients, such as candied pork fat. Now, in Chinese cuisine, sometimes chicken meat is referred to as phoenix. Classic example being those phoenix claws that you see at dim sum. So over the years, for whatever reason, the name of this dish ended up going in the opposite direction. That is, Little Phoenix's cookies turned into Little Chicken Cookies. But right, naming aside, let's get started then with that candied pork fat. To make it, first grab about 80 grams of pork fat and get that into a dice. Then mix that with a quarter teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of liquor, preferably a Chinese style of liquor called Fenjiu, but baijiu or bourbon would both also work. Now grab a separate bowl and layer your pork fat together with 150 grams of sugar. So that's a layer of sugar, a layer of fat, layer of sugar, layer of fat, and finally a layer of sugar. Now cover and toss in the fridge for at least 4 days, but that stuff will stay good for like months. Second ingredient that you want to sort ahead of time, Chinese invert syrup, which is actually the same stuff that's used in mooncake wrappers. To make it, first toss 180 milliliters of water into a non-reactive pot together with 200 grams of granulated sugar. Now, don't stir that, don't touch it, just turn the heat to low and let it cook by itself. Then once the sugar's all dissolved, go in with 25 milliliters of lemon juice, then continue to not even think about touching it for 25 minutes more. After that time, you should start to see some big bubbles coming from your syrup. You know that this is done once you can drop a bit of it on a piece of paper and it stays in an obviously round hemisphere shape. Then just cool that down and jar it up. Now, chicken cookies have two major components, the wrapper and the filling. The wrapper here could sort of be conceptualized as like a thin sugar cookie, but instead of sugar, we're using that invert syrup. So now to a bowl, start by pouring in 50 grams of your syrup, together with 15 grams of peanut oil and a quarter teaspoon of Kansui alkaline water, and give it all a good mix. Now sift in 75 grams of AP flour, then give it all a good mix for about a minute or until crumbly like so. Now transfer over to a silpat and knead it until smooth. This will take a bit, so be patient. This batch took us about 7 minutes to reach this consistency. Then just wrap it up and toss it in the fridge for at least an hour. Next up, the filling. Now there's going to be a lot of different components here, but it's not quite as bad as it looks. So to a bowl, just add in 15 grams of peanut oil, a quarter teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon 5-spice powder, half tablespoon nanru, red fermented tofu, tablespoon of water, and give that all a good mix. Then add in 15 grams of toasted sesame seeds, 15 grams toasted and roughly chopped sunflower seeds, and 15 grams toasted and chopped Indian almonds, and you can swap those for pine nuts if you need. And as an aside, all those nuts were roasted at 175 centigrade for 10 minutes. Then go in with 15 grams of minced mei-cai stems, Cantonese preserved mustard green, and you should be able to find that at most Chinese supermarkets, 1 large clove's worth of minced garlic, 85 grams of granulated sugar, and give that all a good mix again. Now just toss in 25 grams of sticky rice flour, give it another quick mix, then in with your candied pork fat. Make sure that's all evenly incorporated, and your filling is good to go. So now we can wrap. First grab your dough and roll it into a long log. You're looking to get something that's about an inch in diameter. Now just slice that in half again, in half again, and finally in half again to get 32 even pieces, or about 5-ish grams worth each. Now roll them into balls, and then using a rolling pin, roll it into an ovular shape. You're not trying to make a dumpling wrapper here or anything. Just roll it out, twist 90 degrees, and roll it a bit in the other direction. Work through your wrappers, and then these are good to fill. Now, in Cantonese bakeries, they'll use one of these special molds to make chicken cookies, which we don't own and neither do you. So instead, we'll use a Chinese soup spoon, which you can definitely find at your local Chinese supermarket. So just lay your wrapper over the spoon and toss a teaspoon of your filling in the center. Then wrap by simply folding the sides over. Gently press it closed, flip, give it a gentle pat, and with that, you've got yourself a chicken cookie. Work through your cookies, putting them all on a parchment paper-lined baking tray, and then just toss those in a 200-degree oven for 5 minutes at first. Now, after that time, take them out, but leave your oven door open for this next step. We're just cooling it down a bit because from this point on, we'll be baking these guys at 165. So then just brush your cookies with an egg wash, then just toss them back in the oven, close your door, and bake them for 10 minutes more. Then after that 10 minutes, give it another egg wash, and rotate your tray 180 degrees so that the cookies can cook a bit more evenly. Then just toss that in, and after 5 more minutes, start to watch your cookies like a hawk. You want the tops of your cookies to be nice and golden brown, but not, like, overly brown. So then just take them out, let them cool down, or not, I guess, depending on your cookie desperation level, and devour.
So there's another way of wrapping this, which is roll the entire dough into a long rectangular sheet and then put the fillings on it, roll it up into a log, and then cut the log into smaller pieces. It's a lot quicker, that's why many bakeries will use that method, but it spreads and leaks a lot easier. Reason why we went with this method is because it's prettier and resembles the traditional oval shape more. So check out the description box for detailed recipe. A big thank you for everyone that's supporting us on Patreon, and of course, subscribe for more Chinese cooking videos.